Frontline with Kortney Kenny, and I'm Tom Parisi, and today we got a great set of guests.
It's another exciting episode of the Frontline podcast. I'm Tom Parisi with Kortney Kenny as always, and today we are proud to be joined by the 41st overall pick in the last, well, I guess it would be the last OHL draft, and former Ajax Pickering Raider, Tnias Mathurin. Tnias, we are super happy to have you on because we were going to have you on earlier, but then the news broke the season didn't exist. So let's get to it. How did you guys feel about it just not coming to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it was rough, but I can't really say that I expected any more with how late it was. It wasn't too hard to adjust because it's been so long already. It just kept getting pushed back. So it was kind of just like a finalized date and just get into the off season,
Now that, we've heard from other players, it was tough they were getting geared up, and then the season would be pushed back, and then they would start to get geared up again, and then push back again. Knowing now that at least there's a date of October 7th, does that make it any easier now with your off season and everything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gives you a timeline to, start to actually gear up, and hopefully that doesn't get pushed back again. But now we just start to work on it, get into it.
You're the first player we've actually talked to who's currently on the team since the announcement was made there wasn't going to be a season. So I want to ask you, was there any anger? Was there any frustration? I mean, how did you cope through it?
Yeah, no, it was definitely frustrating just because I feel like more of the frustrating part came from all the postponed dates. I mean, it would have been better to be pushed back or canceled way later on instead of new dates. And then after January we kind of just got left on the fence, just wait for a date, and then it was canceled. So I feel like it wasn't necessarily the cancellation, but it was more just all the postponage and all the pushback dates. That was the frustrating part.
In that sense, then, was there any relief when the news kind of came down that, okay, we're now, I know for a fact I'm gearing up for next year, not a shortened season this year?
Yeah, I would say it was a relief, but I wouldn't say it was the best relief, but it was definitely a relief in some way.
That's so fair. Now, where are we working towards? What are the coaching staff talking to you about? What do they want to see from defenseman Tnias Mathurin?
They just want to see going into it's almost like my second season almost. So they just want to see me mature my game even more and just be ready when I'm coming in, because now with 05s coming in, hopefully, not sure how that works, I'm going to have a bigger role. So they're just expecting me to play a bigger role and be ready for that.
How tough is that to kind of normally, you see the rookies come in and try to establish themselves the year after their draft, of course. And now you're essentially a veteran, but you're not on this team and trying to establish yourself and play a bigger role without ever having stepped foot on OHL ice before.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be tougher because you have to make that adjustment during that second season. So, but besides that, I mean, I'm just going to go in and do what I planned to do last year and then just see how it goes from there.
Would it bug you at all if you had to be like the NHL this season where you had to play a bunch of different or the same team over and over and over? You're just happy to play.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't bug me at all. Just happy to play. I haven't played since minor midgets, so I just want to see where I'm at, see where my game's at. Just excited to see that, so I don't think it would be a problem.
Is there any worry?
On the ice? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, kind of in the same vein of what Tom was saying, like, have you gotten on the ice to see if there's been any rust, or is there any worry that when you get out there that you might not be able to?
Yeah, no, I've been training, but like it's not the same as games. So I've had a scrimmage here and there and I felt good. So that's good. But now it's like it's been a while since my last one. So I feel like the most stressful part would be that worry. Did I lose that touch, or is it still sitting there? Like, is it ready? Or I guess we'll see.
Fans are chomping at the bit to see you. Tell us about what your game brings. I saw 19 points in 35 games in your last season. What can they expect from you?
Yeah, so I feel like they could just expect a cool, calm, and collected defenseman. I'm not like the most flashy guy, so I mean, if that's what they want to see, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm not the most flashy. I'm more just like a D zone player, and then I'll jump in the rush, maybe have a shot, maybe have a slap shot, but I'm not gonna dangle through the whole team and try to do too much. So I feel like I'm more of a just simple player, just confident with my game, and we'll see.
I think you're going to the right city for that.
Absolutely. We've talked about it. I'm sure he's tired of answering this question whenever we have him on, Adam Dennis. We've talked about it a lot where, a lot of you guys in the last draft wore letters on your jersey. What do you bring to the leadership table of being a former captain yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's such a big thing. I know all the guys that came in. I know how good leaders they were on their team. So I feel like my leadership specifically, I'm more of a lead by example kind of guy. So obviously I'll be vocal if it needs to happen, but I feel like just working hard, showing the guys I'm here to work and just gaining their trust in that way, that's what I bring to become a leader.
How often does your name get butchered?
Oh my gosh, every single time, I swear, every single time. I mean, it's pretty obvious because it's not a name. Like I've never met another Tnias, so but it's difficult to say, so I don't get mad at people for butchering it.
What's the worst version of it you've ever heard?
I always see people, I guess like their mind tricks them because they never see it and they just change the N to an R. So they just be like Trias. That's probably the worst. It just changes the N to the R for some reason.
Not even in the same ballpark.
Nope.
I remember when the draft was happening a year ago and we were seeing the names popping up on the screen and talking with Tom or talking with one of our friends, Matt Sukram. We're like, why are they drafting people that we can't pronounce their names? Come on now.
Yeah, just make your job tougher for you. I mean, that's how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they want to make sure that we're on our toes.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. It's honest to goodness, you just pronounce every letter like it's there. It's not that hard.
Exactly. It's not if you put it that way.
No, but when you first see it though, you're kind of like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, DiVincenzo's, right? Like when that draft came up, we were like, oh no, like we're done.
Yeah.
Like try saying that real quick, right? So
just call him Dom.
Yeah, Dom and Net. That's what he's gonna be from here on out. So how excited, like take us through that whole experience. We've obviously never been drafted by an OHL team or anything like that, but take us through that experience yourself. It seems like a while ago now, but if you can remember that day at all.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, North Bay was one of my final like interviews that I had, and it was Adam. He brought us through like a Zoom interview. It was the first one that I had where it was like a face-to-face thing. So that already caught me, and then he just showed me, all the renovations in the stadium, everything there, and I was just like, it instantly caught my eye, and North Bay was kind of the place where I was like, oh, I kind of want to go there, I know how it is. I know the fans. I know everything. So, I mean, it was pretty exciting to see that they picked me. It was like a dream come true almost. Like I got exactly what I wanted. I mean, and I'm sure most guys can't say that, but North Bay is the best place to be.
I mean, how important was it when someone actually, instead of a phone call, actually took the time to sit down with you and the family and lay it all out?
Yeah, no, it instantly started like a one-on-one connection. It just showed like how he treats his players, and it's not just a phone call. It's not just a list of questions. He got personal with us and my family, and that really sold me. I think that's what sold me to North Bay.
Yeah, we can't say enough good things about friend of the show, Adam Dennis, for sure. Obviously, there hasn't been an official workout or anything like that up here, but have you made your way up to North Bay since the draft?
Yeah, I think I went maybe October or November, and it's such a nice place to be. I met my billet family, saw the stadium, walked through it with Adam. He gave me a whole tour of everything. I went for a dinner. I can't remember where it was. It was in the city. It was like upstairs or something. I don't know, but can't remember what it was called, but it was some good food. So
well, we certainly no shortage of good food around the town.
Yeah,
that's
for real. I know he was
That's
just
true.
going through streets, just that place is good, that place is good, that one's good too.
So walking through Memorial Gardens as opposed to getting a Zoom meeting through Memorial Gardens, what was your reaction?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was just like a breath of fresh air, I mean, it just felt like it instantly included me in, and it just felt right, seeing the gym, and just I instantly pictured myself working out in that gym, instantly pictured myself sitting in a stall, and it was just really relieving to see that I have such a comfortable rink now.
What'd your family think?
They were just amazed the whole time. They were just speechless. I mean, I don't even know what they thought because they couldn't express how they thought. They were just oohing and awing about it.
When I know when Ty Nelson came up, his big thing was he had to get on the ice. He wanted to get out on the ice. Did you get a chance to go for a quick little skate or anything?
No, I never did, sadly. There was a group of like a bunch of kids on the ice at the time, so I couldn't get any ice.
Well, I'm sure if you just go up to them and say, "Hey, I'm Tnias Mathurin of the Battalion," they'll be like, "Yeah, absolutely. Here you go."
Yeah, true.
Sick.
Yeah, I'd be pretty excited. So yeah, that last year, being captain of your team, the under 16s and everything, what's that like knowing that there is OHL scouts in attendance to see you play?
Yeah, at first it was like hard to adjust from just playing out there, like just having fun with your buddies, to actually kind of getting more on the serious side. And I would say that it's really nerve-wracking to see them with their pen and paper because you're always thinking about, are they writing my name down, blah, 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 whatever. And I feel like if I was to give advice to kids now going through the same thing, I'd just say ignore that. Like just ignore that they're there, just play your game, because that, I feel like that's when I had my best games, when I was just locked in on the ice. I was not worrying about who's there watching me or anything. But just seeing them there, it's obviously exciting when you come out of the rink and you see some jackets. It starts to come true, and your goal starts to, how do I word it? Your goal starts to come true, I guess, where you want to get drafted and you start to feel like maybe you will,
Piggybacking off that with the draft, I see in the background you got the Battalion jersey hanging up proudly there. What was that like? Because of course you couldn't be there in person and everything, but what was that like when you finally got the jersey and you could put it on?
Yeah, that was super cool. Adam actually dropped it off, came all the way down to Ajax and dropped me off some sticks, some clothes, a hat, everything. So it was obviously awesome. And I remember my dad, he was the most excited because he gave me the helmet at the same time, and he had me outside taking like photo shoots. I bet he has like 1,000 pictures of me with the first jersey on, with the green helmet on my driveway. But it was pretty awesome to just see how that came true.
That's awesome.
Adam does a lot of that. He drives almost like anywhere and everywhere just to make sure everybody's okay. And that goes a long way for a team, at least
for sure.
in my book.
Definitely, it definitely does. Adam's such a good guy.
Well, I know he's going to be listening to this because he listens to all of them, as he told us. So he's going to be sitting there. He's going to have a bigger ego than we intend him to have. So
he's going to be like,
yeah, he's going
to retire after this.
So moving forward, how excited? I mean, this might sound like a stupid question, but how excited are you to get on the ice in the green and black?
Oh my! I mean, just as you worded, the green and black. I gotta say, the North Bay colors is not everyone's favorite. I've heard mixed opinions about it, but I love it. so personally, just with the colors, I'm excited to wear them. But yeah, obviously, I feel like I've been waiting so long. This whole year has gone by so slow. But I'm just so excited to just meet all the guys and get into that stadium and just play my game.
I'm curious if any of the gitch they gave you still fits. I mean, you're listed at 6'2", 188, but is that still true?
No, I'm 6'3" now, around 205, 200.
Holy jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, North Bay is going to like you a lot. I promise you that.
I hope so.
Yeah, can confirm.
A big shot, you're in.
Yeah. If you as long as you throw the body every once in a while, we'll be pretty. Everyone in the stands will love it for sure. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen any highlights of former captain Riley Bruce, but big guy, very big guy, and he would throw his weight around, very tall and lanky, and every time he hit he hit someone hard or something in the corner, you'd hear the crowd go brew.
Yeah, fan favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Favorite. They like their blue collar hardworking guy up here.
Yeah.
Wasn't he 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, he was. Him and Kyle Wood were pretty close. They were pretty tall with one another, but
6'8".
Yeah, and that's without skates. So get him on skates. Like, yeah, pretty much. He's got quite the wingspan too. You'd see him fighting, and he'd just be holding the guy, and the guy would be trying to take swings, and he just can't get him. But awesome. Yeah, no. We're pretty excited to see you get up here. So we've talked to all the other guys from your draft class so far, have given us an idea of what number they're going to wear. What number have you decided on, if you have?
Number 5. And then I picked that for Nicholas Lidstrom and Paul Coffey. I mean, Lidstrom is, as everyone knows, one of the best leaders. So being a captain of my old team for 5-6 years, I mean, it was pretty important to me to be a leader. So I figured that was the one to go. And when I asked people, they're like, yeah, number 5, because we had a list of whatever were ready for me. But yeah, I chose number 5 because Arnsby had number 11, my old number.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys could just go and settle that out in the parking lot too. You could hold him back just like Riley Bruce used to.
Yeah. Arnsby's actually from my area too. I've seen him a couple of times.
So do you know any of the guys on the team very well, or is it just kind of in passing, you know them?
Yeah, well, Arnsby actually just started working out with like my workout group at my gym. And then Luke Moncada, the captain of the team, he also works out at my gym. So I got to know both of them pretty well. And then me and Wakely and Nelson have always kind of known each other, always been buddies through just playing against each other. So that's good. But I'd say that's probably the guys I know as of right now.
Is there a guy on the team that you've kind of looked at when you look at the roster and stuff that you look at and you're like, I'm excited to be playing with this guy?
I feel like that's just everyone. Like I've played against Christian Stevens a couple of times actually at like just community scrimmages or whatever, and he's such a nice guy. So I feel like he always introduced himself. I feel like he's introduced himself to me like 3 times. But I feel like I'm definitely excited to play with him.
Did you get to do any picking of the brain of Luke Moncada at all?
A little bit, not much though, just working out and stuff. But he just told me like what they do up in North Bay, stuff like that. So I mean, he kind of just got my excitement even higher through what he was saying.
Nice.
Well, with him going off to the AHL and of course the season being canceled, you're unfortunately not going to be able to get a chance to play with him. Does that kind of sting a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's good to see he's coming from North Bay and my gym to he's doing big things now. So I have to congratulate him on that and just wish him the best of luck in his future.
So another thing that's kind of interesting to me with this whole canceled season and all that stuff is, normally you guys have 2, maybe 3 years to impress NHL scouts as well. And of course, that's not always at the forefront of everyone's mind, but now you only really have a year, maybe 2 to really get their attention. Does that put any more pressure on you, or are you just going to go and you talked about the OHL scouts play your own game type of thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard to hear that because I mean, you wish you had that year to get into it, but I feel like I just got to ignore it, like I said, and just kind of just play my game. And then it goes from there, I guess. I don't want to worry too much about it because there's nothing I could do now. I missed the year. Everyone missed the year though. So I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. I'm just going to play my game, get better, and then hopefully good things come from that.
From an NHL perspective, you talked about Nick Lidstrom and Paul Coffey. Is there a current guy in the league that you look at and want to model your game after?
That one's kind of tough.
It can be a mix of players.
Yeah. I think he might have just retired, but I mentioned Ryan Suter a couple of times because he's just he's kind of like my style of play, and he just stay at home. He's not super flashy, but he still gets his points up. He's a great leader, so I feel like he's just an all-around player that I like to be. And I feel like he's the guy that I would model my game after.
Would you want to play
NHL team?
Hey, sorry, I missed that.
I was just gonna say, would you want to play 40 minutes like he does?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Sign
I love it. Yeah, sign me up.
Who's your favorite NHL team?
The Leafs. Always
good.
Have been.
You're in good
like
company.
that forever.
We already like you more than we like Wakely, so that's good right there. Comes in, he's showing us his. So we like you more than we like Wakely already because he's showing us off his Wendell Clark jersey. And he's like, no, I'm a Pittsburgh fan.
Oh my, yeah, I don't know what to say about him. He's different in some of those things.
Yeah, well, we don't like him all that much now because of that. So
yeah,
yeah. So predictions then. I know by the time this episode goes out, there'll be at least 2 games that the Leafs have played. Just predictions on who comes out of the North Division.
The Leafs.
Good answer.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't have to think about that one.
No, that's a good answer. That's
The
a good
playoffs
answer.
are looking pretty close, though. I mean, every single division looks like it could go either way, really. That
Yeah.
Tampa Florida series is crazy. That's some good hockey.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Boston Washington one.
I really hope that Washington wins though, because as a Leaf fan, I just hate Boston.
Yeah, of
I
course.
can't decide. It's the lesser of two evils, I guess. With
Yeah.
Washington, I hope Washington wins.
Yeah.
The
I
only
don't know.
reason why I wouldn't want Washington to win is Tom Wilson.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble, you should say.
Just
Right
a little
now.
bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. One of the guy who does the sales for the team, Johnny Mack. I'm sure you'll meet him when you get up here. He's a big Bruins fan, and if he finds out you're a Leafs fan, he won't let you go anywhere without giving you a little bit on it. So
Yeah.
watch
Something
out for
about those Bruins fans.
him.
They're just crazy.
True.
Always.
Yeah. They're always there to remind you that your team sucks and everything else, even though they have probably the dirtiest player of all time on their team with Brad
Yeah.
Marchand. So
I always find Bruins players are like the peak of like super fans, because I know a guy back home from my hometown who named his kids after current Boston Bruins.
Jeez. That's pretty extreme, if you ask me.
It's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
Yeah.
my firstborn is going to be Jack Campbell. That's his name. So, or Austin Matthews.
His middle and first name all in one pile.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tnias, we really appreciate you coming on. We've like we've said, we've been waiting to do this one for a while, so we're excited to finally get a chance to talk to you, and we can't wait to see you up here in North Bay.
Yeah, thank you. And I've been waiting too, and it was great. And thanks for having me.
Hey, you're welcome
Absolutely.
back anytime.
Thanks, guys.
You're good.
We say thank you to Tnias Mathurin for joining us on the Frontline podcast. So yeah, I'm Tom Parisi's Kortney Kenny, and Kortney, it was a bit of unfortunate news, and the timing was just dynamite. But as soon as we literally got off and recorded with Adam Dennis and John Winstanley in our last episode, they announced the dates of the import draft and of the U18 draft. I thought it was just, I laughed. But the import draft looks like it's going to be Wednesday, June 30th, and the under 18 draft is Wednesday, June the 9th. So we finally have days for those. I know you probably heard it a while ago, but now you can hear it official from us.
Yep. It's funny that because we haven't, like, obviously since we started this, there hasn't been a season for us to compete with news coming out like that. And periodically I'll watch highlights from the Steve Dangle podcast that they have, and they always complain like, oh, this trade happened as soon as we went off the air. So now it's like, I feel that way now, because as soon as we finished, it was, hey, here's the where the Battalion are
like
picking in the U18. Yeah. And it was just,
like, I closed the Zoom window and went to check, and there it was.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man. So yeah, I believe the Battalion are drafting 10th in the U18 or 11th.
Yes,
they're in the middle again.
No, they're in the middle of the pack, and in the import draft, I believe they're 30th overall.
Yeah. Which
so
kind of
based on, they're going to get a good player. We'll jump back, I think, in just a second, but it's based on where they finished in the lottery they had a couple weeks ago, and how everybody else fits in all of the 60 teams in the CHL. So that's just how that one works. And I believe Petrov probably still wants to come back, so that would be one slot taken.
Yep.
And they would still have room for somebody else. My bet would either be, I don't think there's any other decision but a forward.
Yep. No, I'm with you. Because if you look at the roster makeup this year, they were supposed to have Guskov, who was a forward, right? And he would have been the second import. And then, of course, things happen, and Guskov goes to the KHL. Can't fault him at all. Of course, especially with the way
professional money right there.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with the way that the season unfolded here. The only thing, and I hate to be that guy, I hate to put fear into some people's ears, is if Petrov is drafted, and it's looking like he's going to be drafted by an NHL team. And remember, he got to play this year. He did get to play a full season, and he looked pretty good. They kind of hold the cards as to where he goes. Do they want him in the AHL, KHL, or same thing when we had the rights to Hedel. So from what I've heard, Petrov likes he's excited. He still has weekly meetings with Coach Ryan Houlihan, and he wants to come, right? Like he wants to come to North Bay, but ultimately, say it's I almost said Atlanta Thrashers, but they're not even a thing. The New York Rangers take Matvei Petrov, and then they say maybe we want to send him to Hartford and play in the AHL, right? Like
because he wouldn't have the rules of the CHL bogging him down, which I hope change. God, I hope those rules change.
Yeah,
think about it. Guys like Quinton Byfield, he's the best example, would have been playing for Sudbury this year, and that'd have been great for the Wolves. But could you imagine? He'd have put up like 200 points on his own.
Yeah,
like, it's not fun after that, and he's not helping himself.
No, like he's not learning anything because he's the best player in the league now. All of a sudden, like that would be like as if Connor McDavid came back. I mean, I know that I'm not saying Quinton Byfield is Connor McDavid, but that'd be as if Connor McDavid was not yet ready for Edmonton and came back, and he already had like 140 points as his draft year, anyways. Like, it's just silly.
He's not doing himself any favors.
Now that being said,
the rule.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I understand the rule because the AHL is a big step, and I mean, if you talk to guys who've played in the AHL or any professional league above junior, maybe not so much now, but I'd say up until the early 2010s, that was a rough league.
Yeah,
like there was some tough customers, and there still are.
Yeah,
like it's not an easy place to play at all.
No,
but I think that rule was put in place to just keep them safe, more or less, because you don't want these poor kids running up against some giant human brick walls, and that's it. One game in the AHL and that's it, type of deal, because they got hurt. So I understand the rule, but I think the way the league is going and the way everything is nowadays, you could probably do away with it, to the detriment, sadly, of the CHL teams.
I think that's also part of it, is the CHL has their stake in it because of ticket sales and stuff like that. Like, think of it, right? Like the Sudbury Wolves with Quinton Byfield are more of a must-see team than the Sudbury Wolves without Quinton Byfield. Like,
guaranteed.
They still have some great talent. I mean, Stillman is exciting, and he's going to be great, and he's going to be drafted this year. But like,
and whoever they draft now,
yeah, exactly, first overall, or say in a couple of years, people want to come and see Ty Nelson on the North Bay Battalion, right? Like, they don't want to see Ty Nelson in the AHL because how cool is it to sit here and say, well, Ty Nelson plays for my hometown team. So I think that's kind of part of it, but also it's kind of interesting because I still think that the AHL is a little rough, because I mean, look at the captain of the Marlies, Rich Clune, right? Like, he's a great leader, don't get me wrong. I think his story is fascinating, like his addiction and everything, and coming back and where he is now. But when you remember Rich Clune playing for the Nashville Predators, what was Rich Clune doing with the Nashville Predators, right? Like, he was going out there to basically dummy you, is what his job description was.
He's a guy I'd love to talk to. Like, I know it's not battalion related, but sometimes when you have guys who've led interesting lives and have overcome so much, maybe it's good for other people and maybe other kids to hear, what went down. How did you get there, and how'd you fix it?
Yeah.
Because, some people aren't as lucky.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And especially like, that's the thing that I know we had him on a couple of episodes ago, but that was the thing that was fascinating to me about having Nick Kyprios on, was because not necessarily on the addiction side, because who knows, but I mean, like, he's, as far as we know, he's squeaky clean. He seems like a squeaky clean guy, but he was, the best player on the North Bay Centennials, and then he had to change his role entirely to make it, and then could have died on the ice right there, like when he got knocked out. And so to hear his story of, there's so many different and then I think it's interesting too when you think of him, because everyone, a lot of kids who might be playing like a Tnias Mathurin or a Ty Nelson or a Dallin Wakely, they might think hockey, in the hockey world, playing is the only avenue. It's not, right? Like, you can go into broadcasting like Mr. Kyprios, you can go into the managerial side like friend of the show Adam Dennis, and it's interesting to hear all these different stories in and around the game. I mean, you and I love hockey, but we couldn't play hockey to save our lives. So here we are talking about hockey on a podcast. So it's interesting to hear all that stuff for sure.
It's cool when you get all these people together and figure out how they got to where they are and their stories, because none of them are the same.
No.
Everybody's got a different awesome story to tell. So I guess advice for younger people and just younger players is ask.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? If you need help and whatnot, just ask.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's a kind of another thing. It seems to be like the theme for us this past couple of weeks, because you and I met a new friend last week in Isaiah, and he wanted to learn more about how to do podcasts and stuff like that. He's a big hockey fan, right? And I think we kind of tried to open his eyes as much as we can that, if it doesn't work out on the playing side of things, you can still have a career or a life in the sport, right?
So. Just for some context, Isaiah is a local high school student who's looking to, branch out his hockey career or hockey interests, and hopefully we get him on the show one of these days very shortly. And I think he's a bright kid, and hopefully everything works out. I mean, I enjoyed talking to him.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing, man. You never discount kids. Never. Because, man, you just never know what kind of great ideas they got brewing, and you can never don't ever tell them no, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
No, exactly. But you also have to be prepared to hear no, just in case, because that's the worst, like, that's the thing that we tried to hammer home too when we were talking to them and stuff. Like, always ask, and don't be like, the worst they can say is no for anything.
Man, don't be afraid of rejection, ever.
No.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. People are going to say no, I can't, all the time. It's not a big, like, how many times have we asked for guests and they just say no?
Exactly.
It's no skin off our teeth. We're just, okay, move on, and we'll try again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can't get them this time, but we'll try again another time. Hey,
exactly.
You never know.
And you know what? We have some exciting guests coming up, hopefully soon, and we can share with you guys in the very near future, and keep an eye out for some good content from your favorite hockey podcast, because we're the only hockey podcast. Don't listen to the other ones. Spit and Chicklets, we don't know them. Yeah. Steve Dangle, he sucks. I'm just kidding. They're all right, but
on that note, what do you say, Kortney? If you're watching this on your TV, you can find us, the full episodes online on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcast, and anywhere the North Bay Battalion have their social media, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it, we're somewhere on there. And our thank you goes out to Tnias Mathurin, our guest today, and of course our producer, Ben Sargent, who makes us sound as epic as we do each and every episode. I don't think I missed anything, but he's Kortney Kenny. I'm Tom Parisi, and this was a lot of fun, and we'll definitely be doing it again sometime.